Greetings, my friends. It is Monday, the 7th of February, and this is a very, very important video I'm about to make. I want everybody to share this with everybody you know who still is quite unsure of what's going on. I am not a virologist, I am not an epidemiologist, nor am I an immunologist. I am an A-level biology teacher, tutor, who still teaches to this day in a private capacity. And it was people like me and my kind who taught A-level biology students the basics of immunology to allow them to go off to university and medical school for them to become immunologists and virologists and epidemiologists. Now, having said all those big words, what I'm about to teach you now is basic GCSE O-level virology, especially the word antibody. A lot of people don't really know, they've heard the word antibody, but they don't know what it means. But before I do, the main reason for this video is as follows. I need you to listen to this.
Well, here's something weird. COVID rates are skyrocketing in the very countries with the highest vaccination rates. That would include Denmark, Australia, and Israel. Alex Berenson has been covering this almost alone on Substack. He joins us now for his reporting. Alex Berenson, what is this?
We're at a very dangerous moment, Tucker, and I'm not exaggerating. I think this is probably the most important appearance I've had with you in the last 2 years. It is completely clear now that the vaccines don't really work at all against Omicron. In these highly vaccinated and highly boosted countries, rates of infection are incredibly high, and rates of serious disease and death are also rising. The Israelis are predicting that they're going to have more serious cases than they ever had at the peak last year. And the idea that we would solve this with another booster is just off the charts insane. I have not said this to you before because I'm pretty careful, and I'm pretty careful with the data. But these vaccines, these mRNA vaccines, the mRNA COVID vaccines need to be withdrawn from the market now. No one should get them. No.
Okay. Now, to put you in the right frame of mind, what I'm about to teach you, let me show you something. This is a Ford Fiesta seatbelt. This is a Ford Focus seatbelt. This is a Ford Mondeo seatbelt. The Ford Fiesta seatbelt only fits the Ford Fiesta. It does not fit the Ford Focus. Nor will it fit the Ford Mondeo. Each seatbelt is specific. Each connection is specific to the seatbelt. Got that? Okay. So, to explain to you what an antibody is, I'm going to start explaining to you what happens when you get the flu. Okay? It could be the flu or it could be coronavirus. All flu viruses have spikes on them. COVID-19 coronavirus has spikes on it. And what happens is the virus enters your body, mostly up through your nose, and on the nasal cavity, show you, we have the old virus. This is the lining of your nose or your windpipe or your lungs, and each of those cells has a little spike on it. It's called an ACE2 receptor. You don't have to know anything about it. But in order for the virus, if the virus lands on your face and your skin, nothing happens. If the spike touches there, see there, nothing happens. The spike on the virus must touch the spike on the on your lining of your nose. So here we have the virus, and there's the spike, one of its spikes. That spike must hit the ACE receptor. When that happens, the insides of the virus comes down here into this cell here, and after a couple of days, this virus uses all your DNA to make about 100 to 200 wee baby viruses. After a couple of days, they bud out and they travel down and infect the next cell and the next cell and the next cell and so on and so on. And a domino effect occurs till it gets to your lungs. Okay? Now, your body's really, really smart. When that happens about 3 or 4 days after the virus first comes into your body. But when it happens 3 or 4 days after it first comes into your body and that process starts taking place, the big guns are called in. The B lymphocytes are called in. What they do is they work out the structure of the tip of the virus, the spike, and they make a chemical to coat that. Now, for example, I'm going to show you something here. This is it's apple season. The buds are starting to appear on the apple trees out here where I am in the Bromley. So I was walking through the orchard today and I saw these things here, and I says, wow, that depicts exactly what the wee speck on the virus looks like. The speck on the virus isn't a point. It's really curly, whirly, squiggly, jiggling. So what happens is the B cells make an antibody, a chemical that coats the tip of the virus, right? That's called an antibody. Its biological name is an immunoglobulin. So it's a big glob, yeah? It's a big glob, and now it doesn't put the big glob onto that there and press it and make a shape. The shape is already made. See the indentations there, yeah? The B cells work out the structure of this baby here, the enemy, and they make a glob with the correct indentations on it. See the correct indentations? So that whenever that there glob comes up to this bio here, it fits it perfectly and covers it. Yeah, that is the antibody. And what that does is that stops the spike from touching the ACE receptor on your nose. Therefore, it stops it making babies. What also happens is the B cells have got loads and loads of kids. And they said to the kids, listen kids, I'm not going to be around forever. I want you to watch the way I'm making this stuff. So if this bugger ever comes along again, I want you to learn how to make it. These are called memory cells. And these guys will teach their kids and their kids and so on. So once the memory cells know how to make the antibody for a particular virus, you are immune to that virus the rest of your life because of the memory. Okay? Now, that is what an antibody is. Now, what's a vaccine? A vaccine is where you introduce the virus into your body for your immune system, B cells, to make antibodies before the real virus comes along. And the theory is very, very good. This video is not about the dangers of this vaccine. We're not going to talk about side effects. We're talking about the word antibody. This is a no-level GCSE lesson on what an antibody is. I forgot to mention, once the B cells puts that antibody onto the virus, it marks it for destruction by the killer T cells. Once the killer T cells see that mark on the virus, they kill it. It's a bit like I was driving down in Belfast there a couple of months ago, between Moira and Belfast, and seeing all these trees with axes on them. Obviously, the road maintenance guys thought they were dangerous, so about a month later, I was driving up again and I seen all the trees had gone. So somebody had come along and marked those trees for destruction. When the B cells put this antibody onto the virus, that marks it for destruction. Okay. So the vaccine, what the vaccine does is the vaccine prepares. Remember, I told you that this here takes place about 5 to 6 to 7 days after you first get infected. Wouldn't it be great if you had these guys already made? So the day the virus comes along, you will have the ammo to deal with it. That's the theory behind a vaccine. And it works well for measles, mumps, rubella, polio, and things like that. We're not going to talk about the dangers of this new vaccine. Okay. Now, so last December of last year, they started vaccinating people for the alpha. This is the spec of the alpha virus that came from a lab in Wuhan, and all the specs on the alpha looked like that. And your body, whenever you got the vaccine, the first shot you got, made your body produce antibodies with indentations on them that fit exactly into the spec of the alpha. Last March, this bugger had mutated. And it did mutated. When we say it mutated, what it really means is the spec has changed its structure. Now look at the difference that there. That their structure is different from that. So you got a second shot of the vaccine to make your body produce antibodies for the alpha. Yeah. But the alpha wasn't causing a problem. The delta was, the new kid on the block was, and the antibody made for the alpha does not fit the delta. Along comes another one a few months ago called the Omicron. Now you can see the Omicron spike is different now from the delta. So you get a booster shot to make your body produce antibodies for the alpha, and your body produces these. But the Omicron spike is different. So those antibodies are useless against the Omicron. The basic tenet of antibodies is an antibody is specific to one virus and one virus only. Same way that a Ford Escort only fits a Ford Escort, a Ford Focus only fits a Ford Focus, and a Ford Mondeo seatbelt only fits a Ford Mondeo. Okay? So what bothers me is the people in Queen's University and University of Ulster, all the labs around the world all know this. This is basic GCSE O-level biology. You see what I'm saying here? You're getting jabbed for your body to produce antibodies for a virus that probably isn't about anymore now, the alpha. Totally useless. And that video clip I showed you at the start, that's why that is happening. Vaccinated countries, people are running around and they say, I've got my first shot, got my second shot, and got my booster. That's great. That's you boosted against the alpha. But the alpha is not the danger. The delta was, and now it's the Omicron. And in order for you to get vaccinated against the Omicron, the guys in Pfizer have to go get the Omicron virus, get the gene from it, and make 40 million genes for the Omicron, put it into your arm, for your body to make antibodies for the Omicron. That takes about 10 months. Do you see what I'm saying here, guys? This is not right. This is not right. And why are the big labs, why are the big universities and people keeping quiet? They know this. This is basic GCSE O-level biology. Thank you.